075, X, Instagram and Facebook. You can do that too, but use the hashtag SkySportFC.
Morning, as well as all the usual fan club fan. I'm going to be keeping you across all the breaking transfer news as we count down to the 7 o'clock deadline. And we're going to get straight to the biggest story of the window, really. Alexander Isak's potential British record move to Liverpool. Our reporter Vinny O'Connor is at Liverpool's training ground for us today. Vinny, where are we at? Because this one's developing all the time.
Yeah, a bit of breaking news to bring you as well, because Alexander Isak is in the building. That means his medical is now underway at Liverpool. He has, of course, agreed to sign a 6-year contract with the club ahead of that £125 million move from Newcastle, which will be a British record transfer fee. Of course, the potential for him to make his debut after the international break when Liverpool face Burnley. Then it's Atletico Madrid in the Champions League, of course, before the Merseyside derby at Anfield. But that deal clearly going to get over the line. And we just wonder what that means for Harvey Elliott now, because we also understand that he's attracting interest from Aston Villa. No offer on the table for him from Villa so far. There is an offer from RB Leipzig. But at the moment, that is way short of Liverpool's valuation of the player. And their stance was that if Liverpool were able to get in an attacking option, then Harvey Elliott could well be allowed to leave. Then there's the Mark Gay situation as well, still some way away from an agreement with Crystal Palace, who won £35 million plus around £5 million in add-ons as well. And clearly, if Liverpool don't get Mark Gay in, then Joe Gomez won't be allowed to leave. There was the opportunity, perhaps, or potential for him to go the other way. Of course, he's also attracting interest from AC Milan. So plenty going on here at Liverpool. No deadline day donuts, I have to say, but we have been given blueberry pancakes. I'll just polish them off and let you get back to it. But plenty of breaking news here at Liverpool.
Enjoy those pancakes, Vinny. Well earned already, and it's barely 11 o'clock. Let's go from Liverpool to Newcastle and join Pete Graves. Pete, another transfer saga appears to be coming to an end. What can you tell us?
Well, I can tell you that Yoane Wissa is here in Newcastle, completing his move to Newcastle United. It's after a £50 million deal was agreed with Brentford, depending on where you hear it, some add-ons included in that as well. But a huge signing for Newcastle United. He was one of the key targets for Eddie Howe from the very start of the summer. Before any talk of Isak's departure, Wissa was one that they had sort of highlighted to come in for the departing Callum Wilson. It's taken a long time, it's taken a lot of hard work, but it appears now as though they're about to get their man. So Wissa will join Nick Voltermader in strengthening the attacking options. Of course, they'd already brought in Anthony Elanga, the winger. They brought in a new centre midfielder in Ramsey, as well as centre-back in Shaw, and a goalkeeper in Aaron Ramsdale. Spoke to some former players today who've said that this is one of the greatest transfer windows Newcastle United have had, despite, of course, the outgoing Alexander Isak. So Wissa is here on Tyneside, completing his move. We've seen the club photographer and all the media team arrive in the last few moments and expect this medical to be done and then the deal to be announced at some point today.
Pete, thank you very much indeed. We've already been to Liverpool once in the last few minutes. We have got some more breaking news, though, from the reigning Premier League champions. Rob Dorset is here to tell us all about it.
Hannah, this is a fascinating one, and it's all connected with what we've just been talking about with Mark Gay. I'm told that Liverpool have received an offer from AC Milan for Joe Gomez. I can tell you that exclusively. I found out in the last few minutes, and it would have been a substantive move to Serie A. Not a loan deal for Joe Gomez, but it now looks unlikely that that deal can be completed in time for tonight's 7 o'clock deadline. Liverpool will categorically not allow Gomez to go unless they've got a replacement in. We know that they want Mark Gay, so in effect, they will only sanction a move for Joe Gomez to go to Serie A if they get Mark Gay in through the door. And that deal is still very much live. It's not dead in any way, but it might go later into the window tonight. And so I think everybody's taken a pragmatic view here and said, look, I don't think we can get Joe Gomez done after we've done Mark Gay. And so in effect, Joe Gomez hasn't been allowed to fly to Milan to have a medical, even though he was poised to do so. I've been told that the representatives of Gomez were talking with Milan's owners late last night. There's a little irony here because Milan's owners, Redbird Capital, also have a stake in Fenway Sports, who own Liverpool. So it was a bit of an inside deal, if you like, in that sense. And whilst I've been told that they were close to thrashing out terms and agreeing a deal, Liverpool then pretty much pulled the plug and said, we're not allowing Joe Gomez to go unless we get somebody in. And actually, on a slot, it's very key to have both Mark Gay and Joe Gomez in his ranks. He came off the bench, didn't he, against Arsenal yesterday. So AC Milan interested, close to a deal, I was told, for Joe Gomez, but Liverpool have pulled the plug and said we don't think that can happen in time.
Wow, so many pieces in play in Liverpool. We'll keep you up to date with all the developments there. Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, we'll just confirm some news we were bringing you earlier. There were reports that Bayer Leverkusen had sacked this former Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag. That has now been confirmed by the German club. He's left after just 2 matches in charge in Bundesliga. There was 1 draw, 1 defeat, and Ten Hag has gone. Right, OK, Rob Dorset there. We're talking about the future of Mark Gahey and his future. It's a big issue to be resolved on deadline day. Let's discuss what's going on at Crystal Palace and speak to another representative of Finalysis, an app where passionate fans share their opinions. We're joined by Palace fan Joe Windsor. Joe, good morning to you. Welcome to deadline day. When it comes to Mark Gahey, how important is it, from a fan point of view, to keep him?
I mean, it's so important, isn't it? I mean, at this late stage of the window, for me, and I think the majority of the fan base, he has to stay. I think if it came through a few months ago and we had time to get in an adequate replacement, then we would have sold, because, you know, we all know he's going to go on a free next year, most likely to Liverpool, which is where he wants to go. But we're literally, 7-8 hours away from the window shutting. He played last night. He's a constant professional, isn't he? I mean, he was brilliant last night. He's so good for us, and has been for 4 years. He's our captain. He took us to our, first ever major trophy in the FA Cup. He's probably the most important player at the club at the moment. So for me, he has to stay.
Tim Sherwood earlier was talking about how the finances, if you are the owner of the club, you have to take that into account. And with 1 year left in his deal, I mean, Tim, if you just make your point to Joe about that, because that's an important thing to take into consideration as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've learnt this lesson with Wilfried Zaha before. We lost him on a free. But I think if you asked a lot of Palace fans, do they really care about that now after what he did for us? Absolutely not. I think from a fan perspective, we just want to see our best players at the football club. I do understand that Steve Parish has a very big decision to make in the next 7 hours. We've got Oliver Glasner, who's been very, very public with, saying that Mark Gahey has to stay. We've not got an adequate replacement in. So we run the risk of unsettling our best ever manager. So I just think for 35, 40 million, I think it's worth it at this point.
Mm-hmm. How worried are you that Glasner actually might say, no, if he goes, I go too? How worried are you about that?
Yeah, I'm slightly worried. I mean, he hasn't signed an extension. He's due to leave next summer anyway. Again, it's been very public that he won't sign that contract. And if Mark Gahey does go, I don't think he'll be any closer to signing that. So I understand that we might lose him next year as well. But we've got this season in Europe, which was confirmed last week. I just think with Mark in the centre of our defence as captain, we've got an absolutely brilliant chance at going on to win it, and that's worth more than 35 to 40 million for me. But I understand that Steve Parish may say otherwise.
Joe, what about if you get Joe Gomez as a replacement in a swap deal?
I mean, yeah, I do quite like Joe Gomez, but I just don't think we can underestimate the importance of Mark Gahey and how good he is. I mean, obviously we saw him last night scoring that worldie, but it's what he offers in defence. He's so calm on the ball. He's so composed. He can kind of break the lines and go forward and help out in the attack as well. And I just think it's too late. But I understand that Liverpool, I doubt, would do that deal with us anyway. If they did and we got some money as well as Joe Gomez, then perhaps that would kind of help out with the situation. But as I say, for me, I just think it's too late and he has to stay.
I think you're in real danger of losing your manager. You're absolutely right. I think if he's come out so strong yesterday evening saying about he needs him to stay. Mark Gahey is everything to the club. He's the captain. He needs him. Unless we get a replacement, that could possibly be Joe Gomez. They would tick that box. With Ten Hag losing his job at Bayer Leverkusen, that is an obvious choice, Oliver Glasner, to go there. So it makes it even more precarious for you fans at the moment, I would suggest.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the fan base would be incredibly upset if Mark Gahey was to go, not only to lose him, but we know what that's going to do to Glasner. And as I say, he is the biggest piece to Crystal Palace's puzzle. You know, we've lost Eze, we could lose Mark Gahey as well, but keeping Oliver Glasner, I mean, look what he's doing. We've got a paper-thin squad. We are undefeated in 14 games. We're sitting in 8th place. We're going on a European tour. We've won the FA Cup. I just think this man needs anything he wants, really. And now's the time for Steve Parris to really back him and really back this manager. But yeah, we know that he's going on a free next year. So I do get the dilemma that he's going to have today. But I think a lot of Palace fans are really, really hoping that we stay firm and he stays.
Have you absolutely, completely given up on Mark Gahey signing a new contract?
It looks that way, doesn't it? I think we would all hope that he would maybe sign a one-year extension with a release clause. But let's be honest, we know he wants to go to Liverpool. He won't sign a new contract. But let's not forget we're seeing from all these players this transfer window how they've gone about their business, you know, refusing to train, refusing to play. All these rumours, and he puts in a performance like last night. So I don't think his, you know, passion for the club is under question. We know he's going to go on to bigger and better things, and he wants that to be Liverpool. With the World Cup year next year, he'll play every week at Palace. I think he's very happy to stay, and if we're happy to let him go on a free, then that's what will happen.
Joe, I hope for your sake that he stays, and same with Oliver Glasner. Thanks for coming on.
No problem. Thanks very much.
Okay, we've got stories developing and news breaking all over the place this morning. Let's head to Aston Villa now. We've already heard that they've agreed a loan for Jadon Sancho, but there is more emerging. Rob Jones is at Villa Park for us. Rob.
Morning, Hannah. Yeah, Villa tracking 2 players, 2 attackers with Premier League experience. We'll get to the one that is, as you said, a little bit more advanced, Jadon Sancho, in just a moment. But also there is interest in Liverpool's Harvey Elliott as well. There have been some informal conversations that have taken place between the 2 clubs. There's been no official bid from Aston Villa for Harvey Elliott as yet. And understand that all things are on the table, whether that be a loan or a permanent move for Elliott. But given conversations I've had in recent weeks about Aston Villa's finances, you would expect that possibly a loan is a little bit more likely of the 2 options for a player whose opportunities have been limited under Arne Slot. It has to be said, he started just 2 Premier League games for Liverpool last season, just 6 in all competitions. And you would think his opportunities to play in Liverpool's attack will only reduce further if and when they get that Alexander Isak deal over the line a little bit later on today from Newcastle. So Elliott, one player of interest to Villa. The other one, which is, as I said, far more advanced, is Jadon Sancho, with a deal agreed between Villa and Manchester United. Excuse me, for Villa to pay them a loan fee, to pay 80% of Jadon Sancho's wages, and also for some bonuses in that deal as well, which might just top up that 80% a little further and a little bit closer towards 100%. Had a conversation with someone this morning who's fairly close to Unai Emery, who said that his frustration has been growing in recent days, that Villa haven't been able to get any real business done in the last week or so. Evan Gesson, the only major signing for Villa this summer. There's been so much speculation about Emi Martinez heading out of the club today as well. But 2 attackers on their radar, Jadon Sancho of Manchester United, one, and Harvey Elliott of Liverpool, the other.
Rob, thank you very much. Let's now head straight to Stamford Bridge. Breaking news involving Nicholas Jackson. Gail Davis can bring us up to date. Gail.
Yeah, very good morning, Hannah. What a crazy few hours it has been in the life of Nicholas Jackson. Off he went, didn't he, to Bayern Munich for his medical. The injury to Liam Delap meant that was paused. There was talk of a permanent move last night. Then Bayern Munich said the deal was off. Well, we understand that the deal could still be on. Jackson and his representatives remain in Munich. Remember, Chelsea got a couple of days off because it's international week, and he will join up with the Senegal side. But talks are understood to be ongoing between all parties over resurrecting the deal. Jackson has his heart set on a move, and he has his heart set on a move because he hasn't been part of Chelsea's plans so far this season. Suspended for the first game, not included Enzo Maresco's squad for the next 2. Remember, they do have João Pedro. The Liam Delap thing caused a bit of a headache for Chelsea. He could be out between 6 and 8 weeks with a hamstring problem, and having been left short in January when he was injured and Mark Guéhi was also injured, Chelsea wanted to make sure they were well stocked. But last night, when news came that Mark Guéhi's loan agreement to Sunderland had been cancelled and he was back here, it left a slight door ajar that Jackson may still be able to move, because Maresca talked about having 2 fit strikers after the game against Fulham, and after they recall Q, you have 3 fit strikers if Jackson was to stay. So there is a possibility he could still get his move away, with Mark Gue, of course, coming back from Sunderland from that loan deal. João Pedro is fit, raring to go, and Liam Delap, well, between 6 and 8 weeks, we might find out a little bit more over the next few days regarding his fitness. Jackson might find out in the next few hours where he's going to be playing football this season.
What an absolute roller coaster. That's why we love it, Gail. Thank you very much. Now, Manchester City are closing in on one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Sani Rajavangela has got the latest developments on that one for us. Sani.
Yeah, Gianluigi Donnarumma, one of the best goalkeepers in the world, as you say, winner of the Champions League last season, so pivotal for PSG, deemed surplus to requirements there, and we now know that Manchester City are edging closer to a deal. One's been agreed in, framework's been agreed there in principle, so there's still some things to be ironed out before the Italian, who's only 26 years old, could be joining Manchester City. All that as well would then lead questions over what would happen with Ederson into his 9th season now, the first where he's not the number one. We understand that potentially he could be going to Fenerbahce, but that all hangs on whether Donnarumma comes in at City, and of course that adds even more questions. What does this mean for James Trafford, who rejoined in the summer and has started the season for City? A mixed start for him with Donnarumma coming in. I mean, how would he react to that? But still some work to be done there. Donnarumma, we've seen what he can do. We've seen what he's done winning the Euros, and since then with PSG, brilliant there. It looks like he is out the door there and could be arriving in Manchester today. Still work to be done though.
It's deadline day and a big one for Newcastle United. It's going to be Isak out, Wissa in. We're going to get a fan perspective next.